What is going on, and welcome to my Rapier guide for PvP in New World. I've almost exclusively been using this weapon since the beta, and today I'm going to be sharing my tips and tricks that have helped me get better with the weapon along the way. We're primarily going to be focusing on the Grace Tree today. While I do plan on making a blood build at some point, when I do, I will do a video on that, kind of piggybacking on this one, but this one is going to be mainly focused on the Grace Tree. Now the goal with this was to kind of design it in a way to where you could revisit this video multiple times as you're learning the weapon to kind of hone in and focus on each individual topic, because there is quite a bit that goes into this weapon. It is one of the higher damaging weapons, but it has very little defensive abilities, and like any of the weapons in the game, your success is going to come from getting value out of your ability usage. So I hope you guys enjoy, and if you do like this type of video, then please let me know in the comments. And if you're not subscribed, then please hit that notification bell to see when I do upload more videos. But with all that out of the way, let's jump into the video. So starting things out, we're going to be taking a look at evade. In my opinion, the thing that separates an average Rapier player from a really good Rapier player is fully understanding all of the inner workings of evade, because evade is literally your bread and butter for the Rapier. It is the starter to combos, the ender to combos, literally your combo itself. You can use this to link with other abilities such as Fleche and your roll to create a ton of distance, whether you're trying to get away or close distance to an opponent. You can use this when also paired with the roll to avoid a lot of the damage because it has an iframe. So there is a lot of things that are packed into this ability, and because there's so much, I'm going to kind of break this down into two sections here. One being offense and one being movement. So starting out with movement, if you've seen my videos of me playing with the Rapier, there is quite a few things you can do with the evade ability to create quite a bit of distance. Some of the most basic being is combining evade with a roll. Some of the most basic ways you can do this are by basically just inputting a roll after you use evade. So you can evade either forwards, backwards, left, or right. And this is pretty useful for getting out of somebody's face when you're in melee distance. I really like using this to disengage with fights, but you can take this a step further by rolling before you evade. So instead of evading into a roll, you can do a roll into an evade into another roll, which creates quite a bit of distance. And it's very nice for getting out of somebody's face to buy you time to heal, or to even get closer to somebody to start out a combo. And then also, as you've seen, you can use this when combined with the Fleche to create even more distance. Understanding all of your possible movement options with evade is going to be crucial to your success with the Rapier, because there is almost no defensive abilities on the Rapier. All of your defense on this weapon is going to come down to movement and getting good with the evade ability to have spacing, because that is how you allow yourself to get combos off, is by not getting hit. On top of that, the ability has a very short invulnerability frame, or iframe. If you take a look at the actual animation of the ability itself, it's very short. So depending on the timing of the situation, there are times where you can iframe an ability just by using an evade in the middle of a combo, but in my opinion, it's very short. So anytime that you do end up getting that off with an evade is honestly luck. The way that I actively try to use this as an iframe is by combining it with the light armor roll, because the roll also has an iframe. So if you combine the two abilities, you're able to extend that total period that you have in iframe from just the animation of the evade to the entire evade plus roll. It's very subtle and takes quite a bit of practice, but it's how you win trades with this weapon. A lot of the time, what I'm doing is engaging and disengaging, and by combining these two things, you can avoid quite a bit of abilities in the game and win trades to be able to kind of outdamage your opponents. Jumping over to the offensive portion, I want to break down what an evade combo is. And in order to break down the evade combo, we need to understand the Rapier light attack chain, because it may look like whenever I'm comboing people, especially when I have their back, that I'm pressing or I'm spamming attacks. But if you spam attacks, you aren't able to get this fluid combo off. You need to hit inputs in a very specific order, and basically it comes after the middle swipes of the light attack chain. If you take a look at the actual ability itself, Crescendo here, individual light attacks reduce the cooldown on this ability by 30%. So that means with the time that it takes to actually do light attacks, it takes 3 total hits to fully reset evade. So when you're attacking somebody, the combo goes as follows. You would attack, do your middle swipes, and evade right after the middle swipes into an attack, because the light attack that you hit after this evade counts as 1, and that also counts as a light attack. So your next animation that your character is going to do is the middle swipes. And after you've hit those 2 middle swipes, you then have the evade off of cooldown. It's a little bit hard to explain, and it sounds a little bit confusing, but I think it's a little bit easier to understand if you actually see what it looks like. Essentially, as I mentioned, it's after you hit your middle swipes of the light attack chain is when you have your evade off of cooldown. So by light attacking until the point to where you hit those 2 middle swipes, that is when you activate evade and you're able to continuously hit that combo. And this is where the source of your sustained damage comes from on the weapon, and it's also very crucial that you kind of get this down, because like I mentioned, there's going to be a lot of situations where you won't have parry to just guarantee you damage, especially in times when you're fighting healers. You almost have no time or situation to get a stun off on those characters, so the only option you have is to get sustained burst to out damage their healing. Now jumping into Fleche, as I mentioned, it can be used as a movement ability, extender with our roll and evade. But the thing that you're really going to want to practice and get good at is the cancel into the backstab. This is going to be very important, because it's going to be one of your main sources of burst outside of parry. Now, if you feel like you literally can't swipe your camera far enough to actually get this backstab off, it may even be an issue of sensitivity. Just for reference, I am currently running a camera sensitivity of 22 and my DPI is 800. So take a look at what settings you're running at, and if you feel like the ability is hard to do the backstab with, like I said, it might be even an issue of sensitivity. But the reason that I would recommend practicing and getting good with that is because we're going to chain this into the evade combo we just went over. After you hit the actual backstab portion of the attack, you can go ahead and cancel with an evade as soon as it lands, and then continue on with that evade combo that we just showed. Here's what it actually looks like in action. Just like I mentioned with the evade combo, it's crucial that you get good at all of your sources of burst and damage outside of parry, because aside from learning evade, that is the thing in my opinion that makes a good rapier player. It's being able to be comfortable fighting without needing parry. Parry is very, very, very good, but you want it to be the cherry on top and not the thing you rely on. Now jumping over to parry or riposte, um, while I feel like a lot of people feel this ability becomes useless once you figure out how to avoid it, I heavily disagree, because I feel this is one of the best abilities in the game, and we're going to talk about how to actually land your parries more effectively in a second here. But the way you actually avoid this ability is by rolling out of the way or just literally dodging. It's a two-stage ability. So if you actually taken a look at the way it looks when you parry, the stun itself doesn't come out until your character hits the other character with the elbow. It doesn't happen when they hit your sword. So if you're actually facing another rapier player and you see them throw the parry out, you can literally attack into the parry and instantly roll, and you will not get hit with a stun. And people feel that because of that, you kind of can't really use this ability effectively. Now, in my opinion, the reason why parry will always have value and never be useless is because once you get better at all of these little things that I've mentioned and they become muscle memory, and you stop having to think about every little thing that you're doing, it frees you up to be able to literally just watch your opponent during fights and throw out parries incredibly fast. And as you can see in these fights here, there's literally no time for the opponents to react. But yeah, I'm really, really sorry that it took me so long to come out with this video, but please let me know what you thought. As I mentioned, if you aren't subscribed, then hit that notification bell to see when I do upload videos. But as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and have a great day.